everyone, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Aitaya, and I am your host for today. The Good Morning Education Show is a show that we bring to you Mondays all through to Sundays. Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., and Sundays for the weekend special, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it's always a pleasure to be hosting you on the show. This is a show that I believe we authoritatively can say is the best show on education, the best conversation on education. We thank you, all our tribe members, our guests, our visitors, and those who are watching us from wherever you are. Please, if you just join us for the first time, we have a bell of blessing for you. So just tell us your name, tell us your location, where you're streaming at, and we will be grateful and we'll be glad to enjoy bringing greetings to you. And of course, do not hesitate to ask your questions along the line on the conversation of the day. Do not stop from there. You also could have opportunity to share your views with us on the Good Morning Education Show. We are always excited to have people share with us. And we have a mantra on the show. We always say it this way. It's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. We have analysts and guest analysts all over the world. We have from US, we have from UK, we have from UAE, we have from Uganda, we have from Kenya. We also have across Nigeria as well. And today will not be an exception. We have Dr. Motola already on standby in the studio. Dr. Motola is joining us all the way from United States of America. Dr. Motola, good morning. Actually, your name is Dr. Motola the Great. Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show.
Good morning. Good to be here.
All right. And we have someone joining us, Mary Ogundimo. Thank you for joining. Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. Thank you for joining us on the show as well. And we have also Fini Folu on standby. Fini Folu, good morning. Welcome to the show. Say hello to everyone. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, our tribe. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Omotola. And good morning, Mr. Itayo. It's good to be on the show this morning.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining. And we will start with the headlines on the news within and around the world of education. And today's headline we'll be starting with has to do with something on insecurity. We're starting with insecurity. Low student teacher attendance, mass school resumption in Kaduna. And I believe that Dr. Motola will want to share our views on that. Dr. Motola, over to you.
Thank you. I think, yes, I am not surprised with the recent high rate of insecurity. I think it makes a lot of sense that a lot of people are waiting and watching. They rather wait and watch before they try to be fully engaged in getting into the school resumption spirit, which is very sad. But at this point, my question is I think we as a leader as politics, and I'm so glad about this topic of today because you're right. Politics has definitely messed up education in one way or the other. So my own question is, what are they doing to ensure and to assure the people and the students and the teachers that it's safe to go back to school? I think that there has to be a need for a whole campaign to get people to feel more comfortable and to feel safe in school. So what is being done within the school administrative level, within the federal or state government level to make students, parents, and teachers and all the other stakeholders in education to feel safe and to feel comfortable coming back to school. So I'm not surprised about this low rate right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Finifolu, do you have anything to say to that?
Well, a part of that news says that parents refused to release their children, and I don't think anybody can honestly blame these parents for taking that decision. For many of them, the in fact for many people, life is much more valued over having an education. It's only when you're alive you have an education. So this should be a call to the government to see that what is most important for the people is their lives, is their security, and not returning to school. And I hope they're getting that message loud and clear, and that this time around they're going to do something different to arrest the situation and not go into the mode of passing out instructions and orders and saying that if your child doesn't resume in school, this and that is what will happen. But I hope that they can be proactive to say, look, this is what we are putting in place to ensure the security of lives in the states. Thank you.
Okay. Um, well said and well captured. And those who know and those who are responsible would do so. A very interesting headline that I'd like us to touch on is a thank you note to James Oloyede. This is from This Day Live. Let's hear from Fee first, and then we'll go to Dr. Motala.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I think this is a this is a practical example of no matter how bad somebody is, that there is still some people who would be on their side and who will be their who are their own people, who are their own tribe. And as much as we have had so much wrong with JAM, especially this last cycle of exams, we've had so much uh, um, wrong with it. And in fact, on one of our shows, we have really dissected the issue with JAM. Yet, we have this appreciation letter or appreciation note coming from who is it? I'm not really sure who really this is yet. But he's saying he's had good experiences with JAM. He can on his part say, look, with Prof. Oloyede being registrar of JAM, I have a retinue of successes. I have a retinue of good results that I can point to. And he's coming back to say thank you. And he's making the appreciation very open. This just points to me many things like, okay, a system is not always completely bad. And even if the system is completely bad, the people that run the system are not always completely bad. Is it possible for us to see the good in the bad? Is it possible for us to, in this case, this person is taking a huge step to associate with a brand now as a person who, according to popular opinion, has not done well. But they're coming out to say, well, I can say that I have blessings to count during the administration and the leadership of this person. And he may be good though, he may be bad though. I do not know. All I'm coming back to say is that I have benefited and I'm giving my appreciation. So for me, it's commendable, and I hope it's going to be a sport, particularly since it's addressed to an individual, that it will be a spur for this individual to put in their best, to put in their all into ensuring that wherever they are, they're making positive impacts. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Motala, comments?
Ah, I have no comment because yes, I see what Ping is saying, but at the same time, I'm just like, he just stated what he did before he became to Jam and how he was the president of Uni Ilorin and all the strategic meeting they did, but didn't really talk about any essential result they actually got in his 5 year terms before this appointment and things like that. So I think it's more sentimental and just like you said, a way to just brand himself with the person than more of like substance in my own opinion. But yes, I agree with him. There's more good there. There's still good to the not so good of people. Thank you.
Right. So let's move over to the next one. I think we've handled that. Uni port bans pleasure swimming as undergraduate dies in pool.
I don't think
Fee,
I think this is
okay,
oh let him go. Him go ahead.
please continue.
Oh,
Oh, I was going to say that I think that's not the right move, just because, yes, I'm sad that somebody died, and according to the news, they said the police arrested two of his friends. I'm like, if the person drowned, how is it the matter of the friend that they arrested? They didn't say question, they said arrested, which does not make any sense. That why will you arrest the friend? And then the other thing is, I think, yes, they call it a professional pool for the Olympic preparation or something. If they are going to be opening, I think there should be like at least warnings and sign. I hope that it's there. And then also there should be like be lifeguard on guard, or to say like swim at your own risk if there's no lifeguard on. But I don't think the decision to close it just because this not so good situation happened is the right way going forward. But I understand where they're coming from in terms of their decision. But at the same time, I don't think that's the best way to just approach it. And then I wonder why the police arrested the friends, and that just leaves a lot of question and answer for me at the same time. Thank you.
For me, on this matter, our responses to situations many times is not the right response. We want something is not going well. Instead of looking at what was the root cause, what can we avoid, we have this tendency to just clamp down and say, oh, enough, we're not doing this anymore. If the swimming pool is left open to only professional swimmers, I'm not sure the university considers swimming as a life skill, not as just a pleasurable event or something that people just do to hang around, to have fun. If they see it as a life skill, then what should be going on is doing a review of this incident and putting in place measures to ensure this doesn't happen again, but to ensure that other maybe learning swimmers, beginners, people who actually just want to start learning to swim can have access to the pool, but in a safer mode. That's what I would have expected them to do. Not to say, are they saying that professional swimmers don't drown sometimes? They do. But where is the belief now that once it's professional swimmers that will be using the pool, then that eliminates the need for lifeguards? Does that eliminate the need for floaters or other safety precautions they need around the pool? They really should be taking a different angle and a different response to this. That's what I think.
Thank you so much for that. Let's dash out into another headline. School resumption still. Lagos calls for vigilance and adherence to the COVID or coronavirus protocol. Dr. Botola.
Yeah, I believe that we are not out of the wood yet. Because, people keep saying post pandemic, and I still think we're still in it. It may not have been as like seriously um focused like before. But so I'm glad that they're still taking precaution. And I wonder, like again, what is the percentage of people that have been vaccinated, especially for student buses? And so, but I'm glad that they are putting in the protocols and they are trying to ensure that they enforce it so that more lives can be protected, especially now that I think the new variant is spreading more in children than anything else, like in like younger ones. And so I'm glad that they are really trying to enforce the protocol and ensure that they can keep as many people safe as possible.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yes, I'm done. Sorry. Thanks.
Okay. So let's move to the next one. Gombe donates laptop cash to law students. Finn, what's your thoughts on this?
I would say good move. considering that part of the country where this donation is coming from, it's a good encouragement to the students to have things that can help them and that can enhance the learning and the learning experience. So, good one.
Fantastic. And we have the other headline that says Bajabiamila Okonjo-Iweala Obi to speak at King's College 112th anniversary. Wow.
Okay. As they go there, let them speak. It sounds a little funny for me to even say that, but let them speak truth to power. Let them rescue education from the jaws of politics, and and for me, it's really more about them not just going there to put up a show to say, "Oh, we were here," or but for them to really face the reality of what is going on, and then play their part in ensuring that many more Nigerian students can have the kind of education that King's College offers.
All right. Welcome back, Dr. Motola. We have Kaduna releases resumption schedule for school. Well, we also have FG, federal government urged to support medical curriculum. Dr. Motola, do you want to say something on this?
Sure. Yes, as you urge to support medical college.
Sorry,
So I
your
wanted to,
volume seems to be low.
okay, is it better now? Sorry.
A little bit better, yeah.
Okay, so for the FG urge to support medical, I wonder what they exactly they're reviewing, and like what is it when they say FG, like is it a specific ministry or unit? Because it's not specific enough. There's Minister of Health or whatever. So are these specialists or people that have expertise in this, or just the federal government in general? It does not help because I don't think these people that didn't even finish primary six, they should be the one reviewing the medical curriculum in the first place. And so, for me, I'll say be more specific. Who are you saying to review it? It can't just be FG because they themselves they don't even have university education. Talk less of now saying that specialized degree in medical education, so not that they should review it. So if they can assign the right people, which is not necessarily coming from LG, like a committee that has all the expertise and the people that have the knowledge in this profession, then good, if that's what they're saying. But if it's more of like, oh, FG just to read and whatever, I don't think they have the jurisdiction or the expertise to be able to do that accordingly. So that'll be my 2 cents with that.
All right, thank you so much. Let's just take one more, I believe. Improved nomadic education will curb banditry from that to take to Dr. Motola.
Sorry, you were breaking, so I didn't hear what you said.
I said, Finn, could you please comment on this?
Oh, okay. This for me sounds like it's first on the surface. It sounds like a joke. Like seriously, improve nomadic education with cop banditry. I'm not so sure that that's going to curb banditry, kidnapping. It- Understanding that people who do this stuff, who go into kidnapping and into banditry, as we see it now, it's not really it's not so much about the education, especially from the area of the country where this comes from. Even people who are educated from that part of the country, it's more about religious belief for them. They place their religious beliefs over their education. Just not too many of them are able to say, oh, let me make informed decision based on my level of exposure or based on what I know. Once they hear from their religious leaders and they say, look, this is the way, go. That for them suspends every other thing. So I am on the part of improving nomadic education, if that would mean that nomadic education would be modified to fit into the dynamics of the system. So you don't really have to have a school. It could be a mobile school. It could be having maybe nomadic teachers also that move with the children as they move. And yes, it's awesome to let them have access to let them have access to education on that level. But to say that that's what we call banditry and kidnapping, I don't support that. I do not think that that's the solution. If they want to call banditry and kidnapping, they should be talking to the religious leaders to speak truth to the people, to not instigate them to take up arms, to not instigate them to be violent on the pretext that they have better religious or spiritual reward waiting for them at the end of their violent acts. Thank you.
All right. Bauchi First Lady partners with
Oh, can I
Unimad
add something?
Card Poly. Okay, yes, please.
Yeah, because I think I agree with him. And then on reading the headline, it says that they want to start with primary school children. I'm like, this is really BS. Because how can they think that primary school children are the one that need these most, like this nomadic education most? Primary school students are not the kidnappers. I would have been more in agreement if it's like, okay, starting from secondary school, university, or those that are out of school and jobless and can, yes, but they're not saying that it's primary school they want to focus on. That is just like making money, like it just doesn't make sense. Like, how can you think that it's primary school that you want to train primary school students not to do kidnapping when those are actually doing the kidnapping are not primary school students? So I'm just like, they need to really, really like get their act together. But yes, that will be my thoughts. Thank you.
All right, finally, let's welcome Olushola Olumide and then also take the last headline. Mr. Olumide, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Project Director, Dr. Motola Finful. Good morning, and this is saying good morning to our tribe members across board. Thank you.
All right, so Bauchi First Lady partners Unimad Card Poly on entrepreneurship education. Maybe we'll start with Olushola Olumide, then we'll ask the others to make some comments.
Yes, I think going by the headline is something lovely, and we've been clamoring for that entrepreneurship led focus on skills development. However, I want to see the template and the structure and the nomenclature it will take. When we are talking about entrepreneurship, is it just to train the people how to make leather, to make sandal, to make clothes? What about the whole spectrum, the value chain of being an entrepreneur? I think until we are given the details, then the other aspect of it should be what is rolled out should really justify what is being expended on the project. Because really, for me, if there's any little thing or that put me back when I hear government trying to do this and do that, I'm not against it. It's good. It's a laudable project. It's not that we are embarking on a project of 2,000 while the budget is 20,000. So I think it's a good way to go, provided they are going to follow it through and deliver value. Thank you.
All right. Any thoughts from any other person?
Yes, me. Because, and I'm not sure that this is me just majoring on the minor, but I would still like to have it said. I have a bit of an issue with this because I'm like, yes, there are many initiatives and stuff like that, but the issue I have is like, this is like, it sounds like favoritism. That's what, because according to the news, they said it is our own institute that she created. So my own question is, have there been other entrepreneurship education? Because I'm like, I don't think just one entity is enough to help make this spread or help to equip more youth with this entrepreneurship education and stuff like that. Because I worry when I see this kind of news because it is the wife of the governor, then it's more. So maybe there are other things that are happening in the background. We're not just hearing it in the news, and because now this is the wife of the governor, that's why this is there. But it just irks me in a different way. I don't know. Like it's okay because she's the wife and she's the founder of this. That's why they're giving her this airspace and they're giving her this endorsement and they are doing this partnership. But what about other people who may not have the clout that she has, who have been really trying to work and do this, but they are frustrating their effort and they're not willing to partner with them? What do we say to that? So that will just be my own 2 cents with this. Thank you.
Can I chip in something here, please? One thing that I'm kind of glad about, or that I'm glad about, is that majority of the news we're hearing about education, or the majority of the highlights of the news that is coming out from the northern part of Nigeria about education, is cheering news. Before now, it wasn't there wasn't so much of positives about education like this. And considering the fact that they are actively currently battling with insecurity, particularly aimed at education. The headlines we have gotten from the north is cheering. It shows that, well, even if it's not very very sustained, but at least for now, that there are steps in the right direction made towards educating the children from that part of the country, and hopefully that's going to bring about the turnaround that we expect to see in the development of that region. Thank you.
Yeah, while we were speaking on this, Titi joined us. Titi Lokpe, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Your good morning was very official and presentation wise today.
Mm. So I'm not too predictable all the time.
Actually, it could be predictable. The fact that I know that probably Titi is about to go into defend some budget and some, some alert consciousness things. All right. So at this point in time, we will go straight to the conversation of the day. And our topic today is education in the jaw of politics. Education in the jaw of politics, right? Um, so we know that it's no longer secret or news when it comes to the kind of system of education that is prevalent in this part of the world. And I would like us to start on that note, opening our minds to the fact that how has it been? What's the depth? What's the effect? What's the reality of a politicized education? Education that has been heavily politicized. What are the impacts? What are the challenges? Are there downsides? What are the limitations, especially looking at the kind of politics prevalent in the part of the world that we live in? So those are the things that I would like to, just have conversations around today. So let's kickstart with Titi. The first question I'll ask is, do you think that we have a politicized education? And if you think so, what do you think has been the impact of politicizing education?
Ruth, this one's like a PhD question. Um, I, I will start by saying once there are more than three human beings in anything, then politics comes into play. So there's politics everywhere. Like I said, one take a major major place. And it's not just here, it's everywhere in the world. There's politics in anything as long as it involves a number of people. It can be for good or it can be for bad. Remember that politics is about lobbying for a particular group's interest. So it can be for good or it can be for bad. Now, when you look at we've tried to do a lot of things where we gave preference to the north, which which is fair. Remember that when we look at equality, you also have to look at equality is not giving exactly the same thing. Is sometimes it's trying to help the person that is more disadvantaged. So it's the same thing we have in boy, what we are promoting in terms of the female gender. The recent push for it. Boys, of course, are also looking at it and saying disadvantage. And let me not digress. So politics is needed. That's what I say, and politics is inevitable. But what's important is how does it hinder? How does it hinder the good that was the original plan? So when we look at politics, we're saying how does it end up being so bureaucratic that what is needed is not achieved? Those are for me my concerns, and it always ends up. When I even look at the issues, whether it's happening in the UK or in America, when they talk about their own educational system, it is no different. So, to be honest, I look at it, I'm like, wow, it's just the same thing as what's happening here. Of course, the difference is that they have more funding to education. I don't even know whether I'm rambling. Let me stop there.
Before you become politically all right. So you've given us an insight, and let's even hear from Finn. Education in the jaw of politics. I think it's a case of bite and chew. What's been your own take as regard the impact so far?
The impact of the education so far has largely not been what we expect it to be. It's been more of having a negative effect or having a laissez-faire attitude to it. It's like, oh, we already have the schools, we set up the schools, let the schools run themselves, or we already have the ministries and the commissioners and the ministers, let them just run it. And those ones feel like, what is it? Is it not those tiny children that just run around the place disturbing everybody? Just shock them in one corner and they'll be fine. It looks like deliberate actions and deliberate decisions are not being taken regarding education currently. It looks like more of private individuals are the ones taking the step and making the decisions to say, look, our education must be better, our education must survive, our education can be world class, can be global exports. And so for me, uh, as much as we need politics in education, it probably should be on that list of which what should be cut off, of which one can we circumvent, of how much impact, how much room, how much leeway should we be giving to politics when it comes to the field of education. Should education be left to the politicians? Should politicians be taken out of education? Or should education be added to politics so that when the cycle comes round full circle, then we have an educated politics that can cater to the education system? I hope I've not complicated that.
You hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm going to bring this to Olushola before coming to Dr. Motola. And when we talk about in terms of governance and administration, we tend to see
Oh, can you hear me,
appointment
bro?
as a factor. Yes, we can hear you. So we tend to see appointment, political appointment. Yes. So I want you to speak about that, especially
Hello?
when it comes to education. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead. Hello?
So the question I'm asking is this.
Okay,
When you,
you're talking
yes,
about
we
when
can
it
hear
comes to
you. We can hear
appointment.
you.
Okay. This is a great topic, but do you know what comes to my mind?
Yes.
Is education really in the jaw of politics or inside the belly of politics?
We find out just the question, just to the question.
Okay. Hello? I can't hear you.
Carry on, carry
Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, I think the little thing I had was about the issue of appointment and what have you. And I was, while the session started, what dropped on me was that is education in the jaw of politics or inside the belly of politics? Especially from this part of the world in which we live in. Like Titi said, we can't rule out politics is as old as man. In fact, by the time you have more than one person in a place, you have politics there. So anywhere 2, 3, 4 are gathered, expect politics. However, I think there is a level we play politics that makes it destructive. When we sacrifice merit on the altar of mediocrity. And my mind, I'll be thinking, which comes first, merit or my constituency? The fact speaks. The feeding program, federal government, it started somewhere. Only God knows where the idea was conjured. A very good one, but where are we? And when you talk about appointment, I think you have gone to another level that talking about it will just continue to talk and talk and talk. How do you make a medical doctor to be the Minister of Education or Commissioner of Education? You will discover when it comes to the health, they won't make a lawyer Commissioner for Health or Minister for Health. When you're talking about the Attorney General of the Federation, they won't make a teacher an Attorney General of the Federation. How come? When you want to choose for education, you make an engineer. Well, if an engineer has come into the education space, he's been doing stuff, great. But the educator, the engineer was never. And do you know that most of these commissioners and ministers, they end up being at the mercy of the permanent secretaries or the people that are working in the ministry. And there are a lot of power interplay that people care less whether the education reaches the masses or not. And a very good way to capture the level of politics in Nigeria, as far as education is concerned, look at our public school. I want to tell you, the public primary school, it is the poorest of the poor that is there. At times, some of them don't have seat to sit down. Now, it is good. Government is doing something, but not enough. I would have loved government to own up to the fact that, we are having 10 schools here. We have only been able to attend to 2. Remaining 8, gradually we'll be doing them. They won't do that. Government will be painting pictures as if they've done everything. They'll be showing us picture of those schools they attended to represent as if they have attended to the 10 schools. In fact, if you go to one of the terrible things that can happen to you is to go to a public school and be taking photograph. I'm very sure they will arrest you. The way they will bundle you. And we can't continue to play the ostrich. We cannot continue to say all is well when almost nothing is well. So I think politicking, people are only concerned about what they do. It's no longer, there is nothing like Jafojomo. It is Jafori Ara. Because the people who even think they are trying to Jafojo, Jafojo kankan. So Tojo ò bá dìde kó take destiny in his or her hand, Ojo may be confined to the dustbin of history. That's what I would say for now. Thank you.
I think Olushala Alude is now becoming very philosophical. We need interpretation to some of these idioms and proverbs, or how would I put it? But which is actually making some sense in that. And I really want Dr. Motala to also buttress on that. Our appointments are more of politics based and not policy based. How can we reverse that trend? And also, can you also show almost like juxtapose between a policy based appointment and a politics based appointment? Dr. Motola, over to you.
Sure. Thank you. Yes, I agree that most appointments that we see, especially within the education system in Nigeria, is more of a politics based than policy based. And like Mr. Lushala have already like given, a lot of them it's about ego, it's about oh this person has clout. It's not about what they've done, how they've effective change, or their background or history or expertise in that particular area most of the time. And that does not help the system, that does not help the student, that does not help the teachers, that does not help the administrator within the educational system. And in terms of now thinking of okay, which ones are policy versus politics based, I would say in like let's think of this lady Oko, what's her name? The I don't want to mess up her name. The former,
Is
how do
it
you say? Konjo.
Okonjo-Iweala?
Yes, yes, yes. So I'll say that's maybe one of the things that we've done right in a long time, where like most of our appointments were more of policy based than politics based. And yes, not everybody agree with the way she did things and everything, but you can see that even outside of Nigeria, she's thriving. She competed against everyone across the world, and she won this position that she's in, that represents like a lot of like different places. So that would be a vivid example of a policy versus politics based kind of like appointment that I have seen. Then another example would be that like not trying to say that oh the is better than Nigeria or other developing countries or something. It's like I think there's a role and there's a place to like for instance, there's this guy he wrote the alum promise zone. I can't remember his name, but it has to do with education and how they're transforming that in New York, New Jersey, and even other states across the US are adopting that alum promise zone kind of curriculum and process. And that is a policy based one. They see something that is working. They went to study it, and now other states, other cities within beyond where it started are trying to adopt it. Another example would be Teach for America. I know they try to do Teach for Nigeria, but I don't know where the status of that is right now. But I think they're doing good work, but it's not as expanded as it can be. So Teach for America is another one, like where it's policy based. Like it has been running for over 12 years now, and that is a policy one now across America. It's one of the critical backbones to the education system. It's one of the programs that every state is looking for Teach for America Cup people to go to come, and because they know that once they come, they are going to make a difference. They're going to change things for good and things like that. And so those are some of the and then another one will be like City Year, which is like where young people once you finish your university education. So think of the NYC, but but focus on like education and development of young people in the school system. They do that, and it is adopted across the whole like country and like government. They have a particular budget of money that it gives to them to support the work that this entity does in that regard. So those would be some of the examples of like policy versus politics based appointment that I've seen because they support them with the money, with the resources and things like that to do that. Another example might be maybe the Washington Nelson Mandela Fellowship or Mandela Washington Fellowship in a way. That's policy based, in my own opinion, versus politics based, because it doesn't matter what country of like you're coming from across Africa. If you compete, if they think you're good enough, if you pass the interview level and everything, then they equip and they train you to do good work across the zone. So they look at those people, they look at what they're looking for in those specific like sub categories, and then if they fit and they meet the criteria, and then they pass the different tests or things that they have to go through, and then they are given the opportunity to be trained and to explore that in regard. So those would be some of my thoughts on that. Thank you. Hello?
All right, thank you so much. I think that we need to look at and while you were speaking, let me just acknowledge we have Adenisola joining us this morning. Adenisola, good morning. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. Okay. So what I'd like to say is this, and I'm going to ask Adeni and Titi this question. We know that feedback is very, very key. And sometimes as recipients, as practitioners, and also stakeholders who have keen interest in this education space, we sometimes need to pass across feedback to the regulators and administrators of education. And one of the things that the topic is speaking about is how education has been the jaw of politics. How do we now navigate the dynamics of feedback? In some cases, getting to turn feedback into advocacy. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Derry, and then we'll come to Titi as well.
Okay, so first, I think one of the major problems that I've seen, or why policymakers refuse to probably listen to advocates, let me put it that way, is because they just typically think advocates are those set of people who have, will I say, who are always how big the problem is, but never actually sit down to strategize for it's not like you could do better, like, but you can always complain about the problem. So
Okay, network. I think you lost. All right, Titi, could you just step in and while we wait for them to be back?
Okay. This issue of politics. I just want to say politics for me is a way of life. I think I want to reemphasize that it's a way of life. Let's never plan to do life without politics, because it's just going to be there. It's how people live. But I think what's important for me is, are we making people accountable? And that's really where advocacy will then try. If you know that the system promotes accountability, then advocacy now becomes something that people have no choice. A lot of what has happened in recent time, especially in a post-COVID pandemic, where more and more people have to, advocate. And if the government is accountable to the people, and the people raise their voice, come together and raise their voice loud enough, then unless it's unless it's what kind of government, then that's when they don't do anything. So we see what happened with NSAS. Yes, NSAS had some things that didn't allow it go well, but a lot of what happened was advocacy. And you saw that they had to react. So it wasn't a case of you could just sweep it under the carpet as we do in military regime. They realized that the voice of the people had reason. They can't just sweep it under the carpet. Did they eventually get all they wanted? No. So advocacy for me is where I feel in Nigeria we don't do a lot. We just sit down and complain in our various houses and homes. Things are bad. We don't advocate. We don't come together. No, we want a change in this. Enough that brings the attention of the government that they can't sweep under the carpet. So I think for me, that's what I want to say. We need a lot more advocacy in education. We need to let our voices be louder. Let's not just sit in our homes, put our voice and say nothing ever happens. Then this thing is same old, seen that, done that. Nothing will change. No, that's not the way advocacy works. Advocacy works when you realize that you mustn't keep quiet. And a good example, it was someone that started the advocacy. It was someone that made the voice loud, and someone that, despite the years that has taken place, has not allowed them to sweep it under the carpet. Keeps raising the voice of the fact that where are these girls? Not all of them have come home. So we need a lot more advocacy in education. We don't do a lot of that. Education generally is fragmented here. Education, everybody's going on their own business. It pays some people, it's not paying some people. No, we need more advocacy in education. We need, because that's how you use politics to work for you, rather than you just keep quiet. It's true advocacy when our voices, when we are plenty and we are loud and we are strategic. That's also the thing about advocacy. Don't go do advocacy where you're attacking the person in the office. That's not advocacy. Let's attack the issues, where everybody can see it. I remember that there was a time people, I don't know whether that was a fashion last time or all that, where how it is. You just need to take a picture of the street in your area and then talk about it, and then they actually do something about it. So that's the kind of thing I'm saying. Advocacy. Let's come together and say, you know what? Let's be united in our voice, in advocating for certain things, not attacking the people, not attacking the politics of the system. No, raising our voice for real change.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I know that a lot of people they mistake agitation for advocacy. A lot of people mistake and misrepresent activism for advocacy. Activism is a bit of a fight in the front. Advocacy is more of an agenda-based plea, an agenda-based plot. It's still a fight, but it's much more constructive and involving in nature. And I think that what you said, Titi. Let's not plan to do life without politics. That's for me a very that's a very deep one. It's a call to reflection. So how do we get into those jaws of politics and find a way of making sure that education is in the right place? I'm talking about it from practical application and also following what Titi's counsel says, that we should not plan to do like, how do we bring our A game on with regards to politics and education in politics, or politics in education? And that question will be going straight to Olushola Olumide and Dr. Motola as well.
Thank you, Project Director. I think it's good you have differentiated between, because that was actually on my mind too, that advocacy, we should see that it's not activism. I think about this time last year, there was this program that was aired across Lagos State. I really want to say a big thank you to you, Rotimi, because thinking through about that paper, I look at it and say, no, this is loaded. So I think what we can do, like we have said, there is not chanting, fighting the people, trying to say this, and because if you do all that, you'll be seen as the first thing that comes to mind is that you are working for opposition or somebody gave you money. So it's not enough to identify the problem. We must bring solution to bear. So I think we can push as we visit the people in power, we engage them, we also write to them. This area, I noticed this area, I noticed this area. Look at this template or look at the proposal. It can fly. You that wrote the proposal, maybe they can engage you to execute, maybe not. But I think if that proposal is taken on and executed to the letter, the person who wrote the proposal, even though he or she is not engaged, may not really feel happy. But for the fact that there is a turnaround in the sector, I think it will be some level of joy to that person. People may not know the power behind that success. They may not know the brain who brought that thing to bear. Government will receive the accolades. People will celebrate the government. You will be happy to some extent that at least I did this. Government took it. They implemented it. And we're having a better education sector. But for me, I would have loved the person who brought it to bear should know better and that person should be engaged. So I think we should prepare policy document in order to phase out the old ones that are no longer working, bring new ideas, innovation and creativity, and sell the same to those in power. I want to believe those in power are human beings and they are not anti-progress people. So anything that will make them move forward, I think they will also like it. So make a visit to them, do some briefs or proposal to them, and scale it down on how it will be done, whether in phases or whatever, so that they go through it, whoever, whether a special advisor or the governor himself or the president or the commissioner or the minister, somebody will sit down on it and say, this and this will be done, and this is the cost implication. And I think if they take it on, we'll be moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Motola, very quickly.
Just to piggyback on what Solushola said, yeah, I think it's not as easy as done, because for me, I'll give an example. Now, when I started my nonprofit, we had a really great idea to say, okay, you know what? One of the things that we noticed and that was shown clearly was that, okay, in a school system, whether it's secondary or primary, in a secondary school system, whether it's for the junior or the senior, they don't have enough teachers. So instead of having 8 or 9 teachers to teach like each semester, they may only have 4 or 5. So you know, what if we come and supplement it with teachers like that we are going to train and we're going to pay for and everything, and they shut us. We're trying to take their job. We're trying to make them look bad. And so sometimes I think it's the politician and the leaders that are against progress. And so, because most of them, all they think about is how does that make them look, instead of thinking of the greater good and the common good. So my own encouragement would be that don't just shut down proposals from like private, public-private partnership of people who care, who are passionate about the education system, who has the expertise to help actually change and work together with politicians and government officials to make change happen. But be willing to collaborate, be willing to see it as we thing, not us all versus them thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we draw the curtains on the show today, I'm going to start with Darren just to give us one word or just a parting shot in less than 20 seconds. I will go to Darren. We'll have Fee, and then we'll end with Titi. So Dr. Darren, over to you.
My parting words will be that we should never stop trying, because the moment we stop trying is once we give up, that's the end. We should never stop trying, because I believe there are still like a handful of good people who have the same goodwill that we have. We should never stop trying.
Thank you so much. Fee.
Education is the driver of applicable and sound politics. we should not sacrifice education on the altar of politics and politicians. Thank you.
Fantastic. And then Titi.
Well, what I would say is that when we want to do advocacy or leverage on politics, let's remember that it needs to be a win-win situation. When we go, we need to say, okay, this is where this person's concerns are, and this is what you want to achieve. So let's not go with my idea, take it is the best. But know that the people that you're talking to, they also have their own concerns. So how do you make it win? Because that's the only time that we can really, really make a change with that.
Thank you so much. And on that note, we will be bringing we'll be bringing the show to a close today. Thank you. We mustn't sacrifice education on the altar of politics. So that's very key. Thank you, Aderisola, Adeo Adepoju. Thank you, Titi. Adeosi, thank you, Finn Folufalo. Thank you, Dr. Omotola the Great. Thank you, Olushola Olumide. Thank you, Rotimi Itai. Thank you, all those who joined us today. We appreciate you and we thank you for joining us. Thank you to our tribe members. Thank you to Adebayo Boluwatife. Thank you to Emmanuel Olujobi and so many people. And if you've been watching this, you're catching the replay, please, we're saying thank you to you as well. Remember that the Good Morning Education Show is Mondays to Sundays now, and we'll be here tomorrow as well, same time, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like our videos, share the videos, tell someone to tell someone about the Good Morning Education Show. We bring the show to a close with our usual mantra, and at the count of 3, we're going to say that together. And without wasting much time, it is our desire that you put to practice and you engage a lot of people with what you hear on the show. As we count 1, 2, 3. It's
It is always a
Good
great
morning.
morning
Good morning,
on the
education.
Good Morning Education Show.
Enjoy.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.